Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games. I wasn't planning on making a video about this new accessory that Nintendo announced, but I've seen so many people covering it and giving their opinions on it. I figured, you know what, screw it. Let me throw my 2 cents into the ring. So last Thursday, Nintendo announced this new Joy-Con stand for the Nintendo Switch. And it instantly sparked a lot of speculation of what this might mean for the Switch 2. So here's the tweet from Nintendo of America. Joy-Con charging stand 2-way, a device dedicated to charging Joy-Con controllers, as well as Nintendo Entertainment System controllers for Nintendo Switch, is releasing on October 17th, at least here in America. So this is out of nowhere. Nintendo hasn't really released that many official accessories for the Switch really at all, but especially recently. I can't even really remember the last time they released like an official new accessory. They were doing plenty of this early on in the Switch's life. And when you think back to the Joy-Con charging grip, you think of the battery grip for the Joy-Con that released alongside ARMS. This feels very late, and that's what a lot of the replies on this tweet are about. It's just being like, this is such a weird thing to release at the end of the Switch's life. So a lot of people are putting on their Sherlock hat and kind of thinking like, well, maybe this isn't necessarily for Switch users. Maybe this is them future-proofing for Switch 2. Now, a couple months ago, I reported on this leak or rumor from a company called MobaPad. They are an accessory manufacturer, and they were saying that according to what they've heard, the Nintendo Switch 2 will use magnetic Joy-Con to attach to the Switch 2, which would certainly imply that the current Switch Joy-Con that use this railing system would not be able to latch on to the Nintendo Switch 2 screen. Now, whether or not you trust these reports, that is entirely up to you. I personally do believe this reporting from MobaPad, as well as I believe a Spanish website called Vandal. They initially reported it even before MobaPad. I do believe that the Switch 2 will use these magnetic Joy-Con. There's a lot of issues with the railing on the Switch, so it makes sense that Nintendo would try to kind of update that for the Switch 2, especially when you think about, I mean, the Switch's main issue, I would say, is the Joy-Con. Like, that was the meme for so many years. I think at this point, most people don't even care. Like, it's just accepted that the Joy-Con aren't very good, but it makes sense that for Switch 2, Nintendo would make a lot of effort to improve them, and part of that would certainly include a new way to connect them to the Switch. Which leads us to this new accessory that Nintendo is seemingly announcing and releasing out of nowhere. People think that they are releasing this accessory so that you have a way to charge your Switch 1 Joy-Con for use on the Switch 2 without actually having a Switch 1 present. Right now, the Joy-Con are kind of weird. The only way to charge them is by connecting them directly to the Switch itself, or by using the Joy-Con charging grip. I believe there might be some more third-party stuff that you can do, but in terms of official accessories from Nintendo, you really only have that Joy-Con charge grip, which I'm not even sure if they stock anymore. Like, I haven't seen that thing in stores in years. I think it was a pretty niche product. It's just the same thing that comes with your Switch, except it has a USB-C port in it. This is giving us a way to charge our Joy-Con outside of having a Nintendo Switch. And it just feels very weird to do that so late in the Switch's life cycle, so a lot of people think it is them kind of subtly releasing a Switch 2 accessory before the Switch 2 is even really announced or you know, shown off for the first time, because why else do this? And you know what? I know I'm normally not too conspiracy brained on this channel when it comes to Switch 2 conspiracies and theories and the colored button theory and all that, right? Normally I'm very anti Switch 2 theory. I actually do think there might be some validity to that, because it is weird to release this so late into the Switch's life cycle. However, devil's advocate here, I think people might be looking into this a little bit too deeply. It might not be that complex. The Switch is winding down. These could just be reused parts or spare parts they had from the Joy-Con charging grip, an accessory that I'm pretty sure did not do very well, or, you know, it didn't sell as many as they probably expected. It could just be reused parts from that. It is literally the same centerpiece that you connect the Joy-Con to, so it could be them reusing pieces from that. And more importantly, and I noted this on Twitter when they announced this thing, it's releasing the same day as Super Mario Party Jamboree. Now, for those unaware, Super Mario Party, the game that released in 2018, exclusively used Joy-Con. You had to use Joy-Con to play that game because there are so many motion-based mini-games. Super Mario Party Jamboree is not quite the same, and that I think for the bulk of the mini-games and modes, you will be able to use a Pro Controller. However, they have already confirmed that there will be some mini-games that use motion controls that you will have to use the Joy-Con for. I believe they've even said that you can't play the motion-controlled games online because they don't want to have to deal with, you know, people figuring out, okay, I'm using a Pro Controller, I'm using a Joy-Con, so they're just blocking them off of online. But the point is, Mario Party Jamboree has motion-based minigames, games that you have to play with the Joy-Con. This accessory is releasing the same day as Mario Party Jamboree. So I feel like people may be looking a little too deeply into this when the reality is it might just be as simple as a combination of these two things. they're trying to get rid of old stock of the Joy-Con charging grip, and they're trying to just release this new accessory alongside this game that heavily uses motion controls, or at least part of the game is only able to be played with the Joy-Con, and that just makes a lot of sense to me. And I also think if this were them future-proofing for Switch 2, they honestly would probably just wait until the Switch 2 releases to put out this accessory so that they can put the Switch 2 logo, the name of whatever this Switch successor is, so they can put the name of it on the box and actually market it alongside that system. Now, it is possible that when we see the Switch 2 big reveal event, if it's similar to the Switch 2017 presentation where we have a bunch of Nintendo executives coming out and talking about their, ideas for the system and all that, maybe they show this press image of this Joy-Con grip and they say, hey, if you have a Switch or you have some Switch 1 Joy-Con, if you buy this accessory, you can charge them and they'll be used on Switch 2. That is possible. So while I do think there is a lot of plausibility to this idea that this is them future-proofing for the Switch 2 so that you can use your Joy-Con on your new Nintendo console, I will be honest, I do lean more towards the people are looking a little too deeply into this side of things. Like I said, I think the likeliest scenario here is that they're just trying to clear old stock of the Joy-Con charging grip parts, and more importantly, it's releasing alongside Mario Party Jamboree. I guess the question really there is, why didn't they release this type of accessory earlier? I mean, maybe they thought they could get rid of all those charging grip parts, if my theory of them reusing them is accurate. I could be completely off base with that, but it literally is like the exact same centerpiece with the same USB-C positioning. All they did really was add a stand to it, and I must say, since we're talking all about this accessory, I haven't actually given my thoughts on this thing. I think this looks quite nice. I wish it did 4 Joy-Con, though. I know there's some third-party stuff that does 4 Joy-Con. I'd prefer that. I need a nice way to display. I have quite a few Joy-Cons, so I need a nice way to display them. I wish this thing could hold 4, but I'm not complaining too much. It's a neat little thing to throw out there. I'm not really sure how many people will buy this, though, unless it is a necessity for Switch 2. I guess there's also the question of, will the Switch 2 Joy-Con, whatever they do, or whatever they change with them, will they have all the same features? Will the IR sensor be there? Because if we're thinking, for just example, like Switch Sports will be backwards compatible, you can play that on your Switch 2. Will the Switch 2 Joy-Con have the same innards that will allow that game to actually work, perfectly? Or will Nintendo be like, hey, maybe you should just use your Switch 1 Joy-Con if you have them? It's definitely an interesting accessory to release so late in the Switch's life cycle. I could really go either way on their reasoning for why they're actually releasing this accessory. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think this is, maybe people are looking into it too deeply? Maybe it's just for Mario Party. Maybe it's like what I said with the parts. Or is it actually them future-proofing for Switch 2? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And I must say, man, we are in late July now, and I'm ready. I'm ready for Nintendo to actually say something. We had the soft confirmation of this console in May, like I had been predicting. So we have that. We're done. We're through the first hurdle. But I'm ready for maybe some leaks start coming out from manufacturing, or maybe just the thing being announced in and of itself entirely. Like, that would obviously be ideal. I made a video a week or two ago talking about the reality that maybe we don't see this thing until January, especially if it doesn't release in March. Maybe it releases in like April, May, something like that. They could probably wait until January. I really hope that's not the case, because I'm ready to talk about this thing. I know there's not really like a need for a Switch 2 right now, at least in my opinion, with how great the Switch's lineup is this year. For the holiday season, we have Famicom Detective Club, Zelda, Mario & Luigi, Mario Party. Like, that's enough to keep me busy for the rest of the year. But I'm still itching. A year ago, I was not itching. A lot of other YouTubers, they were all going crazy, Switch 2 this, Switch 2 that. I was not there. I was all very anti-Switch 2. But at this point, I can safely say July 2024, I am ready for Nintendo to actually say something concrete about this thing. I mean, we already had the first confirmation, like I said, but I want some more, or even just, like I said, maybe some leaks. I mean, if it's releasing in March, we're at a similar point to when the Switch, or the NX at the time, really leaked with the Joy-Con and the docking mechanism through Eurogamer. We're at that same point, timeline aligned. So theoretically, we should start seeing some manufacturing leaks out of like China, right? So hopefully there will be some interesting Switch 2 news soon, but I wanted to cover this accessory today because a lot of people were talking about it, and it is interesting. Whether or not it is just them, doing something for Mario Party and them getting rid of old Joy-Con charging grip parts, or if it is related to Switch 2. Either way, I think it's kind of an interesting thing to talk about because we haven't really seen that many accessories from Nintendo, especially in this second half of the Switch's life cycle. So let me know your thoughts on all this down in the comments below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch news, reviews, discussions, all of that fun stuff, and follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Until next time, folks, peace.